Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Invested American podcast. I'm your host, Allie Salah, and my son, Alexander Salah. We're glad to be on the show today. And we got a myriad of stuff to talk about. We're everything insurance here at the Invested American. And we'd like to talk to potential clients, agents, always looking to expand and grow our company. Do us a favor, though, when you're watching this podcast today, like and subscribe and share this information with others. You know, in today's podcast, Alexander and I just have a host of stuff to discuss. And really what we want to talk about, first and foremost, is how your 2023 is going. And how is everything moving forward for you all. You know, and what we like to do on this podcast is be part of your circle of content that you might take in or you might listen to really help you grow your business or go and help attain your goals. So that's why we ask to have you subscribe to us and like and share our content. But Alex, how's your week been? How was last week, I should say?
Last week was great. I started off the week on Monday in the field.
Yes.
Tuesday back in the office, and then Wednesday and Thursday back in the field again, and then Friday I was back in the office.
Okay.
It was my better week from last week when I told you I had one of my best weeks. I beat that week.
Give me some. But I'm so proud of you. You've had such great back-to-back weeks.
I beat that week, and then I sold $13,000 last week in premium.
Yes, sir.
Which obviously made me feel really, really good. So that's a pretty big goal and success that I had last week, and then moving into this upcoming week, I'm looking to do that again.
Alexander, what is it that is sparking you right now? Because, you know, we've got some action. We've got a handful of agents that are really just, you know, taking their business and they're trying to strive to that next level. You know, what's been your hunger? What's really been the thing that maybe has moved you a little bit to move up to this next level?
Yeah, like I was saying kind of last episode when it came to me being on the Ultimate Agent.
Yep.
It showed that I can sell $20,000 in a week.
Yes,
if
sir.
I put my head down and work.
Sure.
You know, following into the SWAT week, that just showed me, like, it kind of flipped my mindset of how I can go about my business and be successful with my business.
Yep.
So it was really cool, the whole SWAT event, because it really helped change my mind and my whole outlook on my business.
Yep.
So I'm really grateful for Nate that, you know, he put it on, and I was, you know, lucky enough to be there.
Right. No, buddy, it's great. You know, Alex, I think one of the things, you know, we talk about all the time, and I've got a bunch of notes here that I was going to share on today's podcast, but, you know, you talk about being consistent, you know. How would you attribute, in your opinion, you know, now that, you know, you're taking out other agents, right? You're spending time with some other agents too. What would you say is the biggest consistent factors that you're doing every day now as an entrepreneur, as an insurance salesman, you know, and working on building a team? What are some of those little things on the consistent perspective that you think you're practicing right now?
Yeah, when it comes to begin with, like, booking an appointment, we always want to make sure to confirm the appointment. If you can ask, you know, what coverages that they're on, because, I mean, if they're on Medicaid, we know that that's going to be a quick appointment, so go ahead and double book that one.
Sure.
Following that consistent pattern for booking appointments, next would be when you're in the house, obviously filling out the needs assessment.
Yes.
Calling from every home. And then once you're finished with the client, if you do sell in the house, sending out a thank you card and doing a day after call.
Perfect.
I think for any starting agent that is here at the Invested American needs to do those things and those steps to be successful and, you know, ultimately just be the best agent for themselves.
That's right.
You know,
That's
and
right.
For you, right, when it comes to that, what do you think about?
You know, I love what you said. You know, I love a coaching lesson that I got from my mentor that brought me into the insurance business originally. And he said to me one day, he said, Ollie, be the agent you want your agents to be. And I thought about that for a second. Be the agent you want your agents to be. Well, what do I want my agents to be like? I want them to make sure they set their appointments, make sure they're aware if they need to double book an appointment, make sure they get there on time, make sure they're dressed professionally, make sure when they're done and they come home, they show gratitude and they send a thank you card or an update on what happened the last time they met. Mm-hmm. You know, making that day after call that next day, right. Just those touches, right? So if I can become the agent I want my agents to be, I will have an organization of solid, consistent agents. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, so I love what you said. You know, I think, Alex, one of the things that you do a really good job, and I think you're role modeling this for people, and I really want to dive into this as really a hot piece of today's show. When we talk about consistency, talking about trust versus being smart. And what I mean is, when you think about when you go out to someone's house, you've been out with those agents too when you're training. There's agents that want to be experts. They know everything.
Right.
They got to feel like they know everything.
Right.
And then there's your utility agent, where I define myself. I'm in the trenches. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what that means. That's a great question, Theory. I have no idea what that means. And then I could just look like that, and they'll be like, so what are we going to do about it? Well, I'm going to find out.
Right.
Because I'm resourceful. Talk about how that works for you at your age, and being specifically really a lot in the senior needs. A lot in the senior needs space. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. When you're sitting down with a client, just kind of like what you're saying, it's all about being resourceful, because I'm kind of the same way you are when it comes to me in a home. I'm definitely not the smartest guy out there.
Right. You're a smart kid though. Don't discredit yourself.
Yeah, but I'm really resourceful. So if I need to make a call or ask the other agent that's with me if they're experienced, what's the or not experienced, but kind of that's been in the business for 7-8 years, like
absolutely.
Jeff or Zach or someone, that knows what this rule may be, or what's the maybe a gap that I didn't know about in someone's coverage or something. So I'm always there for the client, wanting to take care of the client.
Yes.
So if whatever they need to find out what gap it is, then I can make a call or ask someone.
And I think when you talk about that, I think it creates so much value. Because I think, Alexander, like when I'm sitting down with a client, and I'm talking from my perspective, so that's why when I ask you, being, someone who's obviously, half my age, how does that look? Because I've been in the business since I was in my mid-30s. And it's always been part of my deal. Every house I'm in, I'll call somebody to ask for help, to ask them to help me with something, There's always something I don't know. And I just feel like when the client sees me say, I don't know the answer, let's find out the answer, and then I do it in front of them, I think it's game-changing.
Yeah, it makes them feel good.
Yeah, it really does. And I can only imagine being, at your age, you'll be 20 in October, how clients perceive that from a 20-year-old. I think they would appreciate that more, because they know you're youthful. And again, sometimes seniors, I'm sure, are like, I'm going to forget more today than you're ever going to learn, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's really good stuff. Well, I'm proud of you on that. Staying consistent, working that grind, you got to be doing it all the time.
Right.
Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. But, I was talking, so when we talk about consistency, just some other things that it does. I've got a client right now that I'm working on doing a transfer of, a fair share of money from their investment account into a couple different fixed indexed annuities. So, we're pretty excited about this. But, when you talk about the consistency, it's not even just about like doing a day after call. It's about every time, for example, I sell an annuity, one of the things I tell the client is every single week, until we get this thing issued and delivered, you're going to hear from me. Mm-hmm. I need you to know that I'm still alive. I need you to know that I'm here working for you. I want you to know that here's the status of where your annuity is. So this way, they always feel a part. Right. There's the argument or the old saying, no news is good news. Yeah, but when you're establishing a relationship and you're trying to form trust, more communication, the better. So I'm trying to find a reason to call the client back and give them an update on their status. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think when you say consistency, I think it comes back to like having a routine every day and what you're doing. So if you like getting up in the mornings or working out, you do that and then get to work. So it gives you more time to work. Or
that's right.
If you're more of a get up early and get to work type of guy, then you have time to work out later.
Yes.
It's all routine.
It's and once you get the routine going, then it just becomes a habit.
Right.
Then it's just
an
what
everyday
you do.
thing.
It's an everyday thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that reminds me of yesterday. Yesterday's a great example. So yesterday, I'm at home. I'm actually making some phone calls, booking some appointments for the week, and Alexander calls. And Alexander goes, hey, Dad, I got this flat. I think here's what's going on. Da-da-da-da, about an hour away. What do you think? So, we're going back and forth on him getting a spare on and all that kind of stuff. And anyone that's been out in the field knows how this goes. It'll be you're out in the field. You've either had a great day or you haven't had a great day. But then, that flat tire comes and you're over an hour away from home, right? So here's what's cool about it. long story short, Alex is driving home, and I'm like, all right, dude, why don't I just meet you up? We'll see if they're going to repair it or get you a new tire. We'll drop it off at the dealership. They're open till 8, and then, we'll go on home. He said, all right, great. So I go over to the dealership. I pick him up. He's got his car ready. He's dropped it off. And we're in the car. And now it's about 8:20, 8:30, and there's apparently some sort of fuel shortage. So Alex and I go get some gas in the car I was driving, okay? But I think we're going to be okay on the fuel. And anyway, as we're driving home, I was like, hey, Alex, why don't we do this and this? And he's like, no, Dad, get me home because I still have to work out. Understand it, not a big deal. Everybody works out. I'm not, but here's the part I loved. Alex, I want you to talk about why that's so important. But it's like 8:45 at night. We're finally getting home. You were out of the house about 7:45, 8 o'clock, correct me if I'm wrong, that morning. And how much did you sell yesterday alone?
In premium?
In premium.
It was about 4,000 in premium.
How many applications did you write yesterday?
6.
6 apps yesterday. Congratulations. Yeah. How many clients did you help?
I helped 4 clients.
Man, see, I love that. I'm so proud of you. That's just good stuff. All right. Yeah. So here we go. You've done over 4,000 in premium. You wrote how many? 6 applications?
Yep.
Okay. It's Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And why were you so? And it was normal. It wasn't even a big. No, dude, I got to go home. I got to still work out.
Yeah. I think obviously I'm working every day. I want to get up in the mornings and work out. Some days I can. Some days I can't. It just depends how I get to bed. And I'm still working on getting up every morning and working out.
Perfect.
But if I don't make the morning workout, I have to hold myself accountable till when I'm done with work that day, whether it's 8, 9, or 10, I'm still getting to the gym.
Sure.
So I'm always going to hold myself accountable and be disciplined to getting to the gym no matter what the circumstance is. Because like Cody was saying, someone that works out and is like fit and looks healthy, they're hardworking, disciplined, have grit, have a sense of urgency, work ethic. They're just a winning person.
Yes. They're trying to achieve excellence in every area of their life that they can. Man, I love that, Alex. I love that. Talking about working out in the morning, here's an observation that I think will seem true for anyone that's paying attention to this now. A stat first I heard was that more millionaires were created in the insurance business and in the dry cleaning business. Okay, the dry cleaning business, which is fascinating, right? Just own dry cleaning. But the concept, the idea, right? But it's about consistency. And here's what's funny. And I'll get back to why the dry cleaning
It kind of makes sense about the dry cleaning.
Buddy, think about it. People get there super early, and they got to get their stuff done. But people get there super early. This is a business that has to be running, has to be serviced, has to be managed right, because people are coming and going.
A lot of business people are in there getting their stuff done.
They might be doing stuff in there. It's just fascinating, right? Okay. What's super cool about what I was sharing there with you is if you go work out in the morning at any gym across the country, okay, if you're working out in the morning, and when I say, I don't mean 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. If you're the guy at the gym, and by the way, I'm not always the guy at the gym at 4:30. I'm not trying to claim that. But if you go to the gym at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, there's different cars in the parking lot than there are at 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And you know what the different cars are? The nicer car, look, it looks like a nicer parking lot in the morning. And it looks like a regular parking lot in the afternoon. There's nothing wrong with a regular parking lot. I'm making the point, though, you know who's there early in the morning? The guys that are most psycho about their business, consistent about their business.
Routine.
They do it because it's just a part of their life.
Right. I think that's powerful.
But you know that from school, right? I mean, what are some references that you could draw from in high school that were kind of the same principles for you to be successful in insurance that you were doing it? Maybe when you played football, maybe when you did bad. What are maybe a reference you could think of?
Yeah. So, for example, if I have a test the next morning and we've been studying the whole week, I'm preparing myself the night before, having all my stuff together, prepared for that next day. So let's say I have 5 appointments like yesterday.
Yes.
I'm Sunday or Friday and Sunday. Friday before I leave the office, I have all my appointments in my calendar.
Yes.
Kind of comes back to consistency and routine.
Yes. Which I love the fact that you could copy me on there. Fires me up, by the way. That's great.
And then Sunday, I'm looking over my calendar and making sure I have all my ducks in a row for Mondays.
Yes.
So I think that's how you can kind of relate back to if you have a test the next day, you're
Yes.
studying the whole night, making sure you have all your stuff together.
At the same time, consistency has to do with some level of time management or having some level of a structure. You've seen me for years. When we read the Live Tour, again, I want to give a shout out to American Amicable for helping sponsor us to be able to take our agents and go to the Live Tour when they were here in Tulsa. That was cool. Thanks, Jay and American Amicable. But where was I on that? I was about to make a point. Remember what I was talking about?
Talking about Live. You're going to make a point about it?
Yeah, no, but we were talking about something about consistency, and I'm drawing a blank on it right now. Okay, yeah, that's what it was about. It was about just dealing with customers, because it's part of the consistency deal, or the clients. Like, remember when we were at the event,
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody call me,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was a lead source. I was like, okay, well, she called now, and if I can seize the opportunity, I'm going to work with and helping her now. Literally, I had to walk away and do that.
Right.
But you've now had experience where it might be a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday night, and you get a client call, and you're in the middle of either friends being over or you were going to go do something. I think that plays in the consistency game, because it's not just about the work you do every day. It's about the work you're going to deliver when things happen.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Where does that live with your mindset?
Right. I think no matter what the situation is, what you're doing, or actually it does depend if you're like having dinner with the family or something, but besides that, if you're hanging out with some buddies or something and clients calling you, you have to take the call. You're there to service the client and be there for the client.
That's right.
Right? And like I said, it just comes back to the consistency. And, when a client's calling you, you have to take the call because, you've helped them out selling them a policy. So you don't want to charge back or anything. So you better help service the client if they need something.
Yes. Again, if you don't answer your client's calls, there's a good chance you get a charge back.
Right.
If you don't call your clients, there's a good chance you get a good charge back. But the chargeback is why?
Because you're not servicing them.
Because you're not servicing.
And when you talk about chargebacks, that also comes with the day after call.
The day after call helps protect that.
Right.
Do people get buyer's remorse? They do.
Yeah.
How many times have you sold someone and then the next day when you call them, now they seem a little freaked out or they're uneasy.
Right.
And then what do you got to do? You got to reassure them.
Yeah. Just kind of like go back to what you did in the beginning of
That's
the
right.
appointment when you were in the house. Yeah.
Form that trust, again, create that consistency, and continue to move that ball forward. Yeah, man, I love it. It's just so critical. And it just drew a reference, and one of the references was on Saturday. I know that you had sold a policy with another agent of ours, and that client, for whatever reason, was in a little bit of a freak out mode on Saturday. I think it was like 9:15 at night. You end up calling him, So.
But I took the call. I
took the call,
just the client,
and if nothing else, put his mind at ease for the evening. We'll follow back up. Right. Yeah. So, what are some of the misnomers you think, or why is it when an agent does get a call from a client that they're sometimes afraid to answer? Oh no, Joe's calling. What do you think that's about? Because we've all felt.
So I feel like if you feel that way, you may have done something wrong in the house to begin with, or if someone's doing like telesales, they may have told them one premium and did another.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're doing over the phone or in the house. If you did something slight to be wrong, and the client's calling, what they're calling you about.
That's exactly right.
That's why some agents could be like, oh, I don't want to answer this phone call.
I know.
So that's really what it is.
And I'll say this. Sometimes it's just natural that people, for whatever reason, have some level of anxiety or angst or apprehension. They're scared of what the client's going to say. Why did the client call?
Right.
What is going on? And that becomes a big, big deal. I guess I want to just remind everybody, if you're striving for goals and you're striving to do things, you're going to be uncomfortable. You've got to be goal-oriented. And you got to remember, when a client calls you, if you are scared to call them, you're coming from the wrong place.
Right.
You can't come from the place of fear. You got to come from a place of being optimistic, excited. How do you not know that client isn't calling you right now to give you a referral? Did you ask him for referrals? Are you consistent about asking for referrals? And that brings me to my next topic here, that I want to touch on. It's just referrals are part of the consistency game.
Right.
You know, I all I can say is this. I remember this, and then I'll hand the mic over to you, Alex, because I think you now are setting an example. You and Jeff both, man. Jeff Milburn's just killing it in the game here at TIA. We're proud of him. He's another guy that could help you out with your retirement needs planning as well. But you know what? You guys are getting the referral game going.
Right.
I remember just forever and a day not being a referral guy, you know. So share with me or share with us, what do you think's happened a little different with your business, or I know with Jeff's business, I know you've worked some with him, you know, but what do you think's transpired, or what's changed a little bit in your consistency that's changed the referral game?
Yeah, to touch on what you said before you flip to the next topic about clients and chargebacks and things like that, I think if you follow the steps, you know, of like planning, like I said, planning before a test.
Yep.
If you follow steps in the house, like building good trust with the client.
That's right.
Day after call, thank you cards and everything like that. I don't think, as long as you do those steps and you do them to perfection, I don't think there's going to be very many chargebacks. So if you're willing to do that, you've coached that to me, right? I'm still working on it. I haven't perfected it yet at all. But, and then back to what we were saying about the referrals,
how the referrals play in the consistency game. Right.
Man, when I got back from SWAT, and I started asking for referrals aggressively because they kept pushing referrals, and you've been doing that too. I just haven't really thought about it like that, you know.
Plus, I'm your dad, and sometimes I might say something you hear different, but it's true. It's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. So, when it comes to the referrals, when I'm sitting down with a client gathering referrals, right, I'll call the referrals. Let's say I get 5 referrals, I sit down with 2 or 3.
Perfect.
Right? Let's say I sell 1 or 2, for example.
All right.
Once, or even if I don't sell them, right, I can gather more referrals from that referral.
Yes.
Right? Then you get more referrals from that referral.
Yes.
So it's it's just a compound when you keep asking for referrals from a client to a client to a client to a referral to referral to referral.
Yes.
So it's really a game changer. It's really opened up my eyes because I've been selling a bunch of referrals just from coming back after SWAT. And then I have people asking me, well, Alex, are you buying leads? What are you doing? Right? And I'm asking for referrals, and then I'm building my business off of referrals now.
That's right.
That's just a game changer.
It is a game. You know, Pete Fournier, you know, did an incredible job at SWAT. This is us giving a shout out to Pete. Just an awesome, awesome guy. Follow him on TikTok and other social media platforms. The guy's just a stud in the business. But yeah, he wore people out, right? He even talked about being consistent when you're gathering referrals, that you get the beneficiaries. He always says get 3 beneficiaries, right?
Get 3, because that's 3 referrals.
And he wants you to call the referrals. Now, during SWAT, again, someone came from fear and asked Pete and said, well, yeah, but what if you call the beneficiaries and then they're going to want to cancel their mom or dad's client, or cancel their mom or dad's policy? He was like, no. You tell them what you did, and you work on selling them. They're prospects. It's your job to educate them.
Right.
Has that been a game changer? Have you used some of that a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely. I haven't used it as much as I should when I'm asking for referrals. Using the beneficiary route, which is a really smart route to go with.
Yeah.
It's just it's all around just a really good.
Well, people are going to ask. They'll ask you anytime they want. But, you know, so let's answer that, though, right now. What has been your best, or how is it that you're gathering referrals? How are you doing so good at gathering referrals? What are some of the things you're specifically
So first
doing?
off, back to what we were talking about with the beneficiaries. I'll gather 2 beneficiaries. Those are automatically 2 referrals. What you've taught me is in the middle of the appointment, you'll ask, you know, while we're going through this, Mrs. Jones, can you please think of maybe a few friends or neighbors or just the names and numbers of some people that you may know that could help benefit from what we're helping you out with today.
Perfect.
Start out with that, and then you'll bring it up the same. You'll say the same thing at the end of the appointment. You know, now that we've helped you, may you please help us build our business by giving us 3 or 4 referrals. You know, that could help us grow our business. We'd be appreciative of it.
Yeah.
So
much so. Good deal.
Yeah.
It is, and it's just working.
Are you saying the same thing?
I feel like I'm staying right there in that same. And one of the things that I do, and if you want, just look up a lot of our content again and subscribe. I'll do a training on repetition, which really coincides with consistency. And one of the things I'll say is that when you're in the presentation, when Alexander's saying in the middle of it, think of people you know, here are a couple other things you can do in a presentation where it'll allow you to repetitiously ask for the same thing over and over and over again, but sounding somewhat different. Here's an example. When you're sitting down with the client and you start asking them questions, let's just say the question of Medicare comes up and they say they got United Home Health Care. They have United Healthcare, UHC, okay? So let's just say that they had it. Sorry, I don't know, fumbled there. But let's say that they had that, right? I might say something like, man, Mrs. Jones, you know what's crazy is I run appointments in this area all the time. And I meet with probably, 4 to 5 people every day. You'd be amazed at how many people have UHC and I'm able to still help them with the hospital indemnity plan.
Right.
See, right? What that makes it sound like is I talk to everybody in the neighborhood. That's called social proof. And I can say, but listen, if you know anyone in this area, if I haven't been to their house, maybe you can help introduce me to them. And then I'll let that go. Later, we might be talking about dental work. Or we might be talking about cancer coverage. They would say, hey, do you know anyone that has, man, I bet you if there's anyone here in the neighborhood that you could think of or someone that's a close family relative, man, I'd love to talk to them about this cancer coverage. I'm dripping these ideas on them as it goes. So at the end, when I say, now, Mrs. Jones, who are the top 5 people on your cell phone that I could go ahead and call today? And I just wait for the response.
And you do that time after time during the appointment.
Over and over again, man. Time after time, Alexander. Over and over again, you know. It's so true, you know. Alex, you've gone out. You know, I've gone out and I've had the days where I was just dynamite. It seemed like everything I touched turned to gold.
Right.
And then I've had days, you want to check the mic a little bit?
Yeah.
And then you've got days and you're just like, oh, I thought I'm being consistent. I thought I'm doing my job right. Just, you know, what do you do in those dark moments so you can get through it?
Yeah. So every day, like I said, if I'm out in the field 3 days a week, right, and in the office 2 days a week, and I'm going out on Saturdays too, so that's just starting up my next week. 3 days a week, I'm selling a minimum of $300 in premium, right? So if let's say it's 3 o'clock and I've only got $50 in premium, and I'm stressing out that I can't have it. It hasn't happened yet, thankfully, but that time I'm sure will come here soon before 8%. So what I'm going to do to myself is I'm going to hold myself accountable to, I'm going to work till 8 o'clock till I can actually hit that goal. So I'm going to work till 8 to whatever premium I have at the end of the day. So let's say I sell another $100 app, right? Then I'm sitting at 150 at 8 p.m. I didn't hit my goal. It was a really crappy day, but I'm not going to stop working until I hit that goal.
Yes.
So if you're a starting agent and you haven't hit your goal for the day, there is no let's stop and go get food. There's nothing like that. You're going to work till 8 p.m. until you do hit your goal.
Until you hit your goal.
Until 8 p.m. you're no longer allowed to work, right? So that's when you're working till. Yeah.
And you're saying 8 o'clock because we always talk about at TIA when we're training and developing our agents that, you know, you work till the sunlight's gone.
Right.
You know, whatever customer service actions you can do, you know, customer service actions, making a sale, getting in front of someone. Like, you know, you don't need to go be knocking on Mr. Davis's door at 8:30 when it's dark outside.
Right.
You know, give the guy some privacy there. But if the sun's still out, summertime gives us a little extra time. But that's what you're talking about. Yep. While you have the daylight, do that.
And it all goes back to what we've been talking today: consistency and routine.
It is. Yeah. It's the theme of the day. I love it, Alex. I love it. You know, when does the new day start? A day starts when? Like, what time technically does the new day start?
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock what?
A.M.
A.M. Is it light out or is it dark out?
It's dark out.
It's dark out. You know? So if the light is dark when the day starts, that might mean we should maybe start the day when it's a little bit dark so we can get up with the sun and we can make some big things happen. Again, it comes to consistency. When it's dark, don't think that means your business or your goals aren't being met. It just might be that you're ready for a growth spurt.
Right.
You know, so it's exciting. I love it. You know, there's so much more we could talk about the consistency front. You know, Alex, another thing that I believe you've done a solid job with, and we got a group of people that is the kind of content they're taking in. because I think it also wavers your mindset. Look, you're going out with, you got friends, you got some friends that are young, you know, they're going to college, so they're really not sure what they want to do, so they may not be in the same place you are, like mentally, what you're trying to achieve and things you're trying to do, you know. What's some of this stuff, because you got to have your friends, have your relationships, have good times, but what's some of the content you might be taking in, if it's books, or if it's on social media, or who you might listen to? What is some of the stuff you think you do to take in stuff that helps you build your business? You know,
I'd definitely say a lot of my TikTok feed
yeah,
is like a lot of obviously Cody Askins, a lot of Ollie Salah, a lot of the guy I was showing you about, Andy Elliott.
The sales guy,
car salesman,
super good guy.
He does like these little seminars or something with all a bunch of different agents. You know, insurance agent, car salesman,
it's great,
and everything. And he has a lot of good pitches and just everything about him. You know, he's confident in what he's saying.
Man, he's a good coach.
And it sounds good when it's coming off of him because he feels confident in everything he's doing.
And you know he believes.
Right.
He believes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he called the TikTok I was showing you, he called the insurance agent up.
Yes.
And then he was like, sell the room on selling insurance. He's like, well, I'm in the insurance industry. It's a really good industry to be in. And then he didn't know what to say. And then Andy Elliott came in there and just dropped a bomb to everyone.
I love that.
It's cool to see what he's doing because he's I've been watching his videos nonstop ever since he popped up on my feed.
And Coach Burt does some events with it too. Some people, you know, we're trying to get Coach Burt on this show too.
And I've seen him on my TikTok as well. But successful people, man, it's cool to watch them, see what they do.
Yeah, it's cool to watch them, see what they do. Why see what they do?
Because you can copy it.
Because you can copy it, man. And that's how you practice that consistency.
Yeah, consistency.
You know, I want to wrap up the show. I appreciate everyone being on today. We got some great guests lined up. I sent out some messages yesterday starting to line up our pipeline for some people. Rush Holson immediately got on with me and said, yes, let's set up a time from a GTL. We got Redwood Agency. Joe, I hope you're doing well if you're watching this show at all. Joe's, man, I'd love to be on the show. Love that guy. So we're going to get him on the show. And a host of other people. So we're excited. But, you know, I wanted to say, I'm a Tony Robbins guy. I've been following Tony Robbins since probably 1998, maybe, 97, 96 maybe. I love me some Tony Robbins. And he said something that really hit home with me and resonated, Alex. And it's good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people. Strong people create good times. I want to say that again because you can see where consistency stops, where people get lazy and how things go bad. And then it takes the 8%ers, a little plug for Mr. Cody Askins, takes the 8%ers to be game changing. You know, and I think Theory, we were talking about this the other. I know Theory's on the other side of the mics and the camera, but Theory, I think we were talking about this. Think about it. Good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people. Strong people create good times. That is something to live by and understand and embrace. I just love it. Anything else, Alex, as we wrap up?
I like that statement. It's good.
It's solid, man.
Because as long as you stay strong, the good times will come through, even in the bad.
Man, give me some. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for watching episode 4. Thank you for tuning in. Again, thank you for sharing, subscribing, liking it. We're going to continue to bring great content, some great guests, and continue to build a great podcast. Thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.